Brady, the butt kicker. I am very delighted to hear that, sir. That is great news. The butt kicker. Any further deeds that you care to share with the crew? Dana 404, welcome, welcome, welcome. What's good, ladies? What's good? What's good? Lost to 2000 and you dare to show up? The nerve. I'm joking. That sounds good, man. That sounds good. Congrats. Z4 DSO, welcome in, brother. Welcome in. I'm hazarding a guess that you are a new crew member here. I wouldn't mind taking a look-see, my friend. I wouldn't mind taking a look-see. I am going to warm up my chess muscles, though, as usual, by quickly going through an entire week of dailies. What's the Sicilian up in? No, that's not it. No, we're going to do something else. We are doing Tarrasch today. Practically rode a Sicilian Alpine course. Get out of town, brother. As if you don't know well enough why I did what I did. Okay, let's win a piece. Ooh, this is a sexy checkmate motive that Maggie sucked in. Like so. Okay. Wait, what? What is this? I'm going to start banning people who are shit-talking my Alapin now. Notwithstanding the fact that you are all correct, but I'm also correct. It is possible to be on two different sides of an argument and be correct. So if I go check king here, king slips out. I don't like that. Hello, 10 Ninjas. How are you going, buddy? It's gonna be g6. That's cool. I wouldn't have thought of that. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, taken and rook takes, right? Yeah. Oh, wow. Never mind. Game review after the lecture. We'll see how we go timing-wise. Brazy wants me to have a look at his games from his last tournament, and I already prepped the lecture, so there's a fair bit to get through. I'm not gonna make any promises. Maybe check, check. I can't be bothered calculating this. None of that? Really? Oh, it's here. No. Sheesh. It's here? Okay, I must think after all. I don't even know where to start with this. Oh, what a load of bullcrap. That was some kind of zoogie. Alright. Let's switch back to game anal mode. So this is Brazy's first game. Do you mind if I leak your name, buddy, or you want me to cover it up? Well, I kind of leaked it already, so yeah, I thought so. Sorry. Okay, so we are white. Nah, mate, you should take d5 here. 100% take d5. That's the only way to get into a structure where there is some kind of imbalance in the position that allows you to realistically play for more than just dead equal. Because if you don't take this, they will play bishop here, they will retake with the bishop, they will play c5, and everything just becomes boring and symmetrical. Whereas after take quiz c2, you are actually hitting this and this. It forces knight f6, and now c5 is a lot harder to carry out if you play something like rook c1. Actually, this position is quite nice for white here. Moment I put the pawn down, I don't know what that is. What? Yeah, not taking d5 was... yeah. Very unfortunate. And by the way, it's more precise because black here should take with the knight to avoid the trade. For which reason you should actually be taking here the d5 knight first. Because now bishop g5 allows knight c7 and you pick off this. So they have to take back and then we transpose into the previous line. Thank you, 404. Yeah, absolutely. That's the more common captcha. Okay, so we did some fugglies here. Ugh. Why is that bishop going to b1 and not to c2? What was that all about? Yeah, that was ugly. Oh man. Yeah. What are we doing, Brazy? What are we doing, bro? You never played bishop c1, you played bishop b1. Yeah, I don't understand, man. Like, how can you play a move like this and then you realize, oh, actually, that's pretty messed up. It's like, what part of that was not obvious before you played it? Hello, Furlan. Okay, there is no way that this move can ever be correct. A, it makes absolutely no sense. B, what the heck are you doing shooting at the back of these two? 3, even if you weren't shooting at the back of these, what are you doing on the c file, man? Like, rook d1 every day of the week. Why would you go to c1? What? Was it a mouse slip or something? How did that rook go to c1? That is absolute mystery. Well, your anticipation is very off, my good friend. Because actually, whether the C file opens up or not is entirely up to you. Entirely. And in fact, you should be very, very averse to the idea of opening up that file, because that means that these two pawns get traded, which also means that you open up the D file against yourself. So basically what you're doing here is that you are reckoning with a scenario that you should avoid all cost, but the moves you are playing are played as if that scenario was inevitably going to happen. Like, what you want to do against c5 is to play d5 in a heartbeat, right? So, what the frick is this doing here? Alright? Like, rook d1 and c5 d5 every day of the week. You never ever want this trade to happen. So why are you putting pieces on squares that are about this trade happening? Yeah, like, boy, you made so many crazy simple moves here, as in simple mistakes. It hurts. Like, this guy did not beat you. You beat you. Even this is terrible. They should have played queen d6, because after e5, knight d5, knight f5 saves your... Hello? Why is it not knight d5? Bishop d5, knight here, and we save the piece. If they take with the rook, that's obviously the better one. But then at least it rook pawn for 2 knights. Brazy, what is this, man? e5 and we're not going knight d5? Hello? We dropped the ball, my friend, in this game, both tactically and positionally, really, or strategically, really, really big time. Very big time. Ay, 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 ay. They just gave up the piece for nothing. That's really sad, man. I'm actually... I am not convinced at all that if you had played knight d5, you would have lost this game. Okay, this is very, very poor. Well, not very poor, but it was pretty meh. Next. Do you want me to cover your name out for this one? Joking. Queen b3, holy smokes. Whoa. Okay, bishop d4, wow, okay. Now you're doing great. Yep, yep. Yep. That's hope chess. Don't do that. I would play here rook c8. Just rook c8. What? Rook d1, just to be sure that if bishop d here and here they don't work, then we can just take the exchange. Bishop takes f7. Wow, that's actually quite crafty. It's bad, but it's crafty. We could win the pony, Brazy, with check and rook here, yeah? That's a neat one, I reckon. I'm not sure. Okay, that was weird. Yep, that's very good now. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, you can say that, Sergeant. King g7. Look at you go. You want to pin. Yeah, fair. Yeah, nice. Well done. Crafty gameplay. Next. This is a very good opening play by you, Brazy. Well done. Very well done. And now knight g4 just wins the chess game. That was clean as a whistle, man. h5. Okay. Yeah, this is a very clean game, man. Bravo. This is very nice. Please don't cock it up now. Yep. That was very clean, man. Very clean. Bravo. That was very nice. This was really, really neat. I would have played the knight here, no? Try to get in here. What would you guys play here for white? White to move, be a star. What do we do? No, no one is chatting. Okay. No one is chatting. That's depressing. A3. No. No, 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 and no, and no again. No, it is definitely not knight takes g6, although it's not bad. Knight g6 is not bad at all. I actually quite like queen f3. Queen f3 looks to me like a very logical move. I like it, and then knight f5. Very good. I like that tactics. I like queen f3. I like queen f3, but there is a move that is a lot more aggressive than anything that you guys have mentioned so far. And we know that aggression is the way in chess. F4, ladies. F4. That's it. Force is F5, and then you reroute to E5, and you are absolutely killing it. Very, very nice chess. Yeah, I don't like this move, because why would you trade the bishop if you can trade it for knight? Why would you trade it for bishop? Tindy in the house. Yeah. That is a delightful news. Okay, we took on D3, A3 just to piss me off. Good job. Well done. I don't know for the life of me why you need A3 to play Rook C3. Not in a million years will I get that. Now I would want to play knight e4, knight c5. Because the g3 knight is dog poo, and they will have to trade into it on c5. Ninja! Ninja!
Time to review a game.
Yeah, I will. I will, because I'm almost done here. Knight e4. Knight e4. Hello, Mr. Nova. Yeah, knight e4, knight c5. So we went, and hello, Courtney. I find this to be a bit overcommittal and too soon too. Pawn takes is a bit strange. I expected rook takes back. To hang d5, yeah? This looks very, very lame. And passive. This is good chess again, Brazy. This is good chess again. Yep. Hello. Hello. Bring it, baby, says Brazy.
Oh, that's outrageous. The guy is so talented. It's beyond a joke.
You started physically shaking. What? Why? You're winning the chess game, brother. Why the shakes? What's the problem? What, did you have like 2 seconds left? And the hippie shake. That is not a reason to shake. I don't get that. Like, your opponent should be shaking because they are outrating you by 4,000 points and they are losing miserably. They should be shaking, not you, my friend. You should be excited. What? Are we going for Matutsky here? Hello? What? Yeah, but poker in this regard is a very different sort of story than photons. Because you don't earn a good hand, ever. It's given to you by luck. That's the luck component of poker. In chess, it's far less likely that an outright win is handed to you. Yes, of course, it is easier said than done. And by the way, you should not be completely emotionally untouched by these things on the chessboard. However, it's particularly important that those emotions only impact your play one way, which is up, as in positively. It cannot be a debilitating thing where it holds you back. That's when it's bad. I don't think, Mr. Nova, that this rook sacrifice it works for black. Not at least the way I see it. No, I think they have to run for the hills, but this looks very, very uninspiring for black. I don't like the rook trade, the queen trade here, because now you still have a lot of work to do. In fact, I would go as far as I would hold this against you, Brazy, with black. Whereas I don't know if I would hold this against you with black. Okay, now your opponent blundered rook c3, so now this is all over. Broski, like rook c3. That's a 600 rated puzzle right there for you. What are you doing? That's a literal 600 rated move. They can't avoid the... Well, they either trade rooks and they lose the pawn ending, or they lose a second pawn and connected past pawns. Either case, you should be winning this in like less than 10 moves. Like, that is a blunder in my book, and a very big one too. That being said, you are playing this part of the endgame well. Yep, very clean, very clean. Okay, I don't understand this. Why don't you just play a pass move here and force the rook back and keep on pushing the pawn? That is, again, like, I don't understand the logic of this. It's not a bad move, but, like, why? No, absolutely, it's a bad to kick off in 20 minutes. Like, why would you not just play a pass? The king can't move because it lets you in. The rook goes back, you push the pawn. And you push the pawn. Like, this endgame technique is like a roller coaster. Why? Why? Like, why? You played some excellent moves in this endgame and then some really, really inexplicable ones. And then they gave up, so apparently it was genius. Overall, Brazy, I think you have shown the field that you are at least 300 rating points underrated. Very impressive stuff. Yeah, well, there you go. There you go. So you went up 300 points, as you should. I mean, this was a really, really nice performance. The first game was a bit of a shocker, but the rest looked pretty neat. The rest looked pretty neat. Radio Ninja, have you got the game buddy on the ready? Did you send it to me perhaps already? Yeah, we might have received it. Yes, he has. Alright, Ninja, are you in the house? I hope you are. It also wouldn't hurt if you knew what color you were. Ninja is not talking to us. Yeah, you are here. Can you please tell us what color we are? Oh, we are behind the white army. Okay, let's go. Wow. Castles? Really? I thought that you are playing my Evans Gambit repertoire, or at least some more ambitious stuff. Okay, now we are back in absolute mainline theory via an incredibly weird move order. Evans Gambit overrated? Underrated, you mean? Underrated is the word you are after. Ninja, can you give us some ratings so that we can roughly gauge the level of the players? 2000 ECF. English Chess Federation. Okay. Oh, it's actually English. Okay, I never thought about it. It is actually English Chess Federation. Well, my friend, what can I say? You out prepped your opponent to perfection. I can't believe they took this pawn. Like on 2000 level, people still don't listen to me. Don't release tension. G5, definitely not after taking on D4. Definitely not. Nah, it's good for being absolutely wiped off the board. I mean, you are losing every... I think even this one wins for white. Right? Because the knight has nowhere to go. You can't go to e5 because take. I actually thought I had queen out there. What is my win there? What is the win against 95? I feel like I'm missing something glaring obvious. Maybe it's just take, and then queen f3, I reckon. Yeah. And the black king is in a world of hurt. But I think the better move is takes, of course, as per the game. It looks like Mr. Ninjas is sending a game to flex. Because there's not a lot I can say about this that is educational apart from be a rock star. So is there a way that black can propose a queen trade? Bishop g4? Is that a move? I guess no, because then I just take the queen and f6, yeah? Bishop e6 maybe? Yeah, I reckon bishop e6. Yeah, I don't know. It looks like we are killing it. Okay, so the opponent played bishop f2. Oh, you missed knight g4. You needed to go king h1, right? Ay, 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 ay. Greed. Greed has caught up with us yet again. Not good. No bueno. Chat, king h1. How nice a move that is. Crazy, don't forget that we sacrificed the piece already, so taking that is not gonna cut it because they take and they take on d8 as well. So no, it does work. That's the whole point. That knight g4, queen g4, bishop g4, take, and we have got level material more or less. Like, we wanted checkmate, and now we are in a scenario where we are up a pawn, but it's nothing to write home about. And that's how the game, that's tragic. That's tragic, because I think king h1 just wins on the spot, right? Like, bishop e1, bishop f6, and it's mate. So the queen is gone. Yeah, that was... Boy, was it unfortunate. You played an absolutely spectacular opening, Ninja, and then we got tricked. Fudge. We can't even play knight c3 to make matters worse. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, we did. So I'm guessing rook d2, king g3 is the plan. What? No? No king g3 here? Wait, you're saying something weird. You said that you thought that black had rook e8? That's a very, very good point. That's a very good point. Is this working? Just casually hanging every single piece? What the hell, man? What a line. What a line. What a line. Queen here, queen here. That is about GM level calc. Yeah. Ninjas, no one blames you for this, man. No one blames you for this. I wouldn't have found knight c3. Maybe I don't know. I feel safer by saying no than yes. That was absolutely wild. That was absolutely wild, and quite excusable that it was missed. But I'm now hung up on this king g1 story. Why didn't we go to king g3 here, brother? What am I not seeing here that you have seen? Nah, you should never be upset about yourself for missing a line like that. Okay, but none of what you're saying preserve this pawn, right? Like, you go king g1 and you lost this pawn. You go king g3, you do not lose this pawn. Isn't that the whole argument that we are having here? I don't quite follow the rest of, or rather, I think what you are saying is, I don't know how to put it politely, but is irrelevant because it's about now keeping material alive. Yeah, I find this very weird. But okay, I'm gonna go with this. And I didn't take b2. I mean, there's one good point to not to go to g3, which is that you have this. But I guess black has bishop e6, so I'm still not sold on this at all. Yeah, I'm not a believer. Absolute chaos. You can take the knight, and when they take the bishop, you can play knight e4. I think. But that's a very cool line. Let's have a look at that. Rook b2, king here, rook here, rook e4. Ooh, there's rook c4. Ay, 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 ay. Wait. Okay, that explains. That is a very good reason why we are not playing king g4 free. Not the one that you said. That is the reason why we don't want king g3. Okay, back. Knight b4 looks absolutely horrid. Yeah, this is a very, very high level game. Very high level game. Yeah, I really don't understand what they were thinking when they played knight b4. Like, one move white-ish at its finest. And now white is much better, courtesy of the stupid move. Yeah, man. Very, very impressive stuff. Very impressive stuff. Is there anything wrong with a3 and then taking b7? Hello, Drift King. Hello, Chess Pawn. Tom, you can preview your openings, do some calc. That's it. You can't really change the world 2 days before a tournament. Just, yeah, brush up on your openings and do some calculation exercises. Oh! Hello! Hello! Freaking out today, guys. You are on fire. Look at this cheeky bastard. Ay, 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 ay. Loving it, man. Absolutely loving it.
Come on your bike. On your bike.
That isn't on your bike. Why not take the rook? I would let you work that out, my friend. I will let you work it out. I will let you work it out. Yeah, it doesn't lose material, my friend, but the material is... You are worshipping the wrong god. No one cares about material. That has nothing to do with material. It's simplification. That the position is getting simpler and simpler. Easier to convert. We don't want to win material when we are already up 47 pawns. We want to get rid of with the pieces. No one cares about material. Should. Everyone does, unfortunately, but no one should. Tom? No. Unfortunately not, because I want to get on with the lecture, and it's already 2 o'clock, so yeah. I'm afraid that no, the answer is no today. Okay, so let's see how it went. Yeah, I mean, the rest is just mopping up. Yeah, very good. Very good. Your opponent couldn't find the resign button. That needed to be king h6 though, not g. Yep. 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 I always do a lecture, Courtney. Not always, but more often than not. Right. So, speaking of the lecture, today I was planning on doing some Tarrasch business. A few of my students are looking for a different d4 opening with black than what they are currently doing. And I thought that the Tarrasch is one of the best entry point openings for black with d4. And the reason for that is because it's aggressive, it's very principled, and it also results, or rather facilitates many pawn structures that we need to know well. Nah. The man doesn't interest us as much today. Fascinating character, good old Dr. Tarrasch was. So, Rogozhenko losing against a reasonably unknown player. This is how it's done. Drift King, I'm very happy. That's a bit of a deeper, harder way to go about life, and I really hope that you enjoy the course. I think it's a good one. So c5 introduces the Tarrasch. Now all kinds of pawn tensions are on, which is something that we love. And white goes for this, which typically leads to an IQP. Let's go. Knight c6, bishop g2, knight f6, knight c3. And we can start guessing the moves for black from here. Black to move, guess the move. This position is alien to me. Why? Yes, indeed, GG Ninjas. It's different. It's different. Your bishop on f5 is likely not going to stand well, because once the pawns go, knight d4 is going to hit it with a tempo. Hangs a pawn? Which pawn? Courtney, definitely no b6. Definitely a huge, big, fat no to b6. This bishop is already good to develop this way, so this is a waste of time. Bishop d6 is a very decent move. Bishop e7 is also decent. I personally would take and then follow it up with bishop c5. This would be my personal preference, but bishop e7 was played in the game. No, it doesn't lose a tempo at all. Because now if they take, that means that the knight is not on d4. Well, the reason why I would take on d4 is because I would then score a tempo with the bishop on c5. Bishop e6 was mentioned. I'm not a fan, but objectively it's not a bad move. I find it very passive. No, let me rephrase that. It is very passive, but objectively okay. Alright, castles, obviously. Bishop g5. And now there is a bit of a pressure on us. Because now white is actually threatening to take and take and take. So now we are forced to respond in the center one way or another. Your engine's favorite move here is c4. And then knight e5, and then white is a touch better. Our friend decided to capture. Which I am totally cool with. Take. And what is the most natural move for black now? Well done, Courtney. Well done. H6. When the bishop is here, it is asking for getting kicked in the face. Excellent. H6. Very good. Bishop f4 back. Why not h6 before? Because if you play h6 here, then after take, we have got some problems with this pawn. That's why. Whereas now we don't. Okay. Chess moves, please. Good chess moves, please. Good chess moves, please. I like rook e8. Good move, Sergeant. But not because of bishop f8, because that's way too passive. We want bishop c5 rather. Which is potentially the best move on the board already. The only alternative to that, which was actually played, is bishop g4. Trying to be a bit of a pest toward the e2 pawn. Yeah, it can be quite obnoxious. It can be quite obnoxious. Queen a4. And now again a very obvious and easy move comes. We're not worried about knight b5. What? No, not at all, because after h3 you pull back and g4 is very, very not recommendable. So, not at all. In fact, we don't even have a threat with bishop g4 because both knights are guarding e2. So it's not even a threat, it's just annoying. That's all it is for now. It's just annoying. But it certainly isn't one move itis because it cannot be chased around without compromises. No, because this, like, no. First of all, there's nothing to parry here, and it's just a healthy developing move. I don't know why you guys are so aggravated by it. Like, I want to develop this bishop. Can go, but does jack all. Can go, does jack all. Can go, can go. Like, literal only sensible square for the bishop. I don't understand why this is not a completely normal thing to look at. Like, why are we making it look like this is the move that needed explanation? It's like last piece to develop. Hello? Isn't it like our second chess lesson? I wouldn't call it positional. There's nothing subtle or deep about it whatsoever. The only way I would describe this move is that it's healthy. It's a healthy chess move. That's what this is. And I refuse to look at it in any other way. No, I would not jump down your throats because it cannot be kicked around, which is the point, because the bishop actually stands well on this diagonal. So white committed to some weakening moves to force the bishop from one good square to another. So yeah, anyway, queen a4 played. What do we do? But yeah, I love you too, Tindy, as you know. Queen b6 is a record. I don't know. Maybe bishop e3? Interesting. Yeah, I guess I would go bishop e3. But it's an interesting move for sure. I like rook c8 too. It looks very healthy. There's another very healthy move that no one has mentioned yet. Queen d2 is... I love queen d2. That's awesome, man. Bring it. Best move. I think bishop c5 hangs c6. Queen d7 is the correct choice according to the game and the engine too. Because again, it's just a good-looking, developing move. But the other ones that you recommended are also on point as far as I'm concerned. Rook d1. Now, they played a move here that I'm feeling a bit iffy about. It was a certain rook to d8. As far as I'm concerned, the wrong one. The engine disagrees with me, but I can talk to you, the engine can't, so I'm the boss. Losing the a7 pawn is not something that we look upon or calculate or consider. That's not a loss, that's a win. Yeah, I do want rook a8. They played rook fd8. And I dislike this because I don't understand why we need a rook on the c file. Whereas I very much understand why I want to have a rook on the e file. Hello. So, as a matter of fact, this doesn't make sense to me. Oh wait, they played rook a8. Yes! Yes, Leonard Oliver, you are my man. Screw the engine. The man plays chess like a champ. Never you mind, my bad. They played the correct move. By my standards. Well, once the queen is on d7, the obvious reason why the a pawn is not hanging is because it's not hanging. I don't know how to say that. Like, that's the obvious reason. Yes. Yeah, I actually quite like Blackie. I think that things are looking up for Black now with either bishop f8 or bishop c5 coming next. Increasing some pressure down here. It looks alright. They played rook d2. This looks absolute dog poo. And when a move looks absolute dog poo, it is dog poo. Whoa.
Hello, coach.
Hello, Malcolm. Yeah, rook d2 doesn't look healthy whatsoever. It does not look healthy whatsoever. Now we've got a variety of options, and I'm very curious how you would proceed. I like bishop c5 a lot. That's my favorite move, in fact. It wasn't played. Once again, shout out to Malcolm, by the way, for the prime sub. Thanks so much, buddy. I don't know why you guys want to go to b4. Like, can anyone explain to me why bishop b4 is an attractive idea? For starters, the bishop is loose as hell on b4. Second, it's a pin that you can't do anything with. Third, what do you do if they kick you? There is not a single thing that I find logical about bishop b4. And in fact, I would love to pick your brains. Like, people who said bishop b4, like, what made you go like, yeah, that's it? I'm very curious. Like, how does that fit the bill? Hello, Mr. Shaft. Yeah, bishop c5, spot on. My favorite move. And my second favorite move is the one that Mr. Nova Chess guy is proposing with bishop h3, trying to tickle the king side a little bit and propose the trade of the light squared bishops. Courtney, that line doesn't add up, hun. After knight takes, you take here, I take back, and you don't have time to take this because you have to take the knight back, which is going to lose you at least a pawn. So, no. Bishop h3 loses a pawn. Abyss Gazer, I want you to answer this, or rather reflect on this. That's the second time I'm calling you out on this in 10 minutes. That why are you constantly worshipping the wrong god? Notice how you evaluate every single thing through the glasses of material. Who cares? You really need to learn to let go. Or rather, unlearn this particularly harmful habit that you analyze everything through the eyes of pawns. Let me show you what actually matters. What matters, my friend, is checkmate. That's what decides the game, not counting pawns. You should start that habit where the last measure that you use to evaluate positions is material, not the first. The last. Now, it's a very good question. Isn't it bad to trade pieces when we are having an IQP? Yes and no. If all of them come off, yes, it's pretty bad. So you need to be very strategic about what you trade and when you trade. That's a very good call. But right now, bishop h3 loses on the spot, more or less. And whether we take g2 or not is up to us. So technically, we're not trading yet. Bishop f3 feels a little bit wonky. I would continue with bishop c5. They played bishop h1. Not that that doesn't feel wonky, mind you. So, there you have it. Honestly, I think white should have just ignored this tension, because if black takes, king takes back is fine. So yeah, I think that any kind of knee-jerk reaction to move the bishop is bad. And they just should have continued with their plan. Having said that, rook d2 was a very strong indication that white did not have, in fact, a plan. So it's very difficult to continue something when you don't even know what it is that you're currently doing. I think that's an incredibly powerful piece of wisdom for life, not only for chess. It's very hard to continue your current activity if you don't know what you're doing. Right. So maybe bishop h1 was played because it gave white something to do. Superman, I don't understand what you're saying about f3 and the queen. The bishop is not loose on c5 because the d4 knight is looser. So you can't really cash in on that. Like if you're trying to sell some tactic like this, it actually loses to a beautiful idea of takes. Queen takes and the knight takes back and defends the bishop. So I managed to unloosen it. Right, so let's go. Bishop h1, g5. Now black switches gears and goes on the attack with notable aggression. Knight takes. Again, I would have played the bishop e3, but even so, bishop c5 with a very likely exchange sack next would absolutely rip white's kingside apart. Yeah, this looks incredibly gnarly. And of course, knight takes c6, rook takes e3 is looking like $1 million. This is already a mate. But even so, even without that, the rook e3 ideas here. Like, this is a stock standard idea for black or white, irrespective. Where you are more than finely compensated for the exchange deficit, because these pawns are extremely vulnerable. The king is very weak. This bishop on the diagonal is infinitely more valuable than either of these rooks. So black is clearly better here. Hey PNQ, long time no see indeed. So they took on c6 first in order to disallow the bishop to come to c5. How do we proceed now? Queen g4, you want to trade queens? I will pretend that I didn't hear that. No, no, no. We're not trading bishops. Knight g4, as per Courtney, on the other hand, is red hot, like Courtney herself. Very good. Very good. Now, bishop a7, of course, is not a move we look at because it loses to rook a8. Queen a7 now makes some sense to look at. But a simple queen e6 is going to deal with the issue perfectly fine. And now we have got 4,000 threats that white needs to worry about. So, yes, shout out to Courtney, knight g4. Knight d1 played. The GM is now playing extremely passive chess, going backwards. This is butt ugly. We must be feeling very happy and confident here. What do we do? This is a difficult point, actually, to proceed. Knight takes followed by bishop c5 Tanner, I think, is an interesting sacrifice that I don't think would work out in our favor. Do not recommend. So now for the first time we have a genuine problem to solve, which is the pawn situation on c6. Queen f5. I don't see what it does. I like it, but I don't see what it does. I don't see how we have added any value to our attack by playing queen f5, since f2 is overprotected, right? And if I start trading on d5, it's gonna be not pretty. Blackie played a quite surprising bishop f6. Can anyone guess what the idea was against queen c6? Well, no, actually I don't want you to guess it. I want you to work it out. It's all good, ninjas. I appreciate the fact that you are with me at 4 a.m. Bloody hell. There's no way I would do that. Why is this a losing move, ladies? Because we trade and we win a piece. Pook. And now once again we reopened the E file onto the bishop, so capture sac ideas may play a role again. Queen a7 played. Now that is the pawn that we are happy to lose. And now we are going to go with Mr. Abyss Gazer's Queen f5. The tension is building. It's very, very nice to see how Black kept on playing aggressive chess, whilst the GM kept on going backwards and taking pawns. So the trend is very clearly that Black is going to deliver a knockout victory here. Let's see. F3. A blunder. Rook e7. Queen b6. And rook e8. I mean, f3 was a sinfully ugly move, in particular because it did not create any threats whatsoever, owing to the fact that there is a mate on f1. So after rook e8, bishop f2, now it's your turn to shine. Black's best move, please. It's raining cats and dogs again in Canberra, ladies and gentlemen. Tomorrow the forecast is 14 degrees. Oh, by the way, while we are at it, can anyone explain to me why it is that the Yanks measure temperature in Fahrenheit, which no one else does on the entire planet? What's up with that? I'm not trying to pick a beef here, but like, why? Well, first of all, no, they are not better at all. It especially does not. It isn't true at all for temperature, because the Celsius system is designed to be able to determine the boiling and the freezing point of water, which is one of the most important, you know, practical uses of knowing the temperature. In Fahrenheit, they don't work out at all. So that doesn't add up. I also don't understand why miles and yards make any sense. But I'm willing to let that slide because that was spread by the British, so the whole entire Commonwealth is using that. But as far as I'm aware, Fahrenheits are used nowhere outside of the US. Yeah, but then how is it practical, Tana? I don't get this. Anyway, well, I don't think change is hard. Not in that matter. I mean, wasn't the metric system invented way before the British started spreading this plague with yards and miles? So yeah, I'm correct. The metric system was invented earlier than the imperial, so Why would you change from imperial to from metric to imperial, but change to not Fahrenheit to Celsius? Doesn't it up to me? At least it's not French. Now that I agree with, and I can see Sydney Sweeney in the chat, so bear with me. Just give me 5 minutes now. No, I think that's an utterly dumb question. Everyone agrees on the fact that she is incredibly hot. US auto manufacturing is all metric. Well, yeah, some people have come to their senses. Fair enough. Anyway, back to business. Someone typed in a beautiful line, and I would like to credit that rather than getting into a beef that I can't get out of. And that was Rook E2. Absolutely fabulous stuff. I'm getting schooled. I like this. Yeah, you are right. It was officially established in 1824, but the traditions go back all the way to the Roman units, so hundreds and thousands of years. They still suck. I didn't mean to suggest that America is an awful country in many ways. In fact, on the contrary, I think in many ways it's the loveliest places possible. Yeah, no, I think that there is a lot to be said for the United States. Fahrenheit is not one of them. Right, so for those of you who are still with me for the chess, well, Tanner, maybe right now I could understand why, but overall, I think it's a happy place. So yeah, take, check, and that's a glorious way to knock out a GM. But we have got more to work with here, folks. Because after the glorious Rook E2, GM played A4. And he goes like, I'm getting a queen, baby. What you got? And here, I think the excitement got the better of the black player. They missed the forced win. Very, very close to forced win. Black to move, be a rock star. Queen E6 is the third best move on the board, good sir. The third best move on the board. Shout out to you, Mr. Gazer. Queen d3 was played. I really like queen e6, but queen e5 is ever so slightly more accurate. Rook b2 is guarded. Don't do that. Now, I love that idea, Sweet Blues. Knight f2, queen c2 is how a proper chess player thinks. That is absolutely beautiful, and in fact it does win. At this point, allow me to send a royal shout out to Mr. Sweet Blues. Freaking brilliant, man. Absolutely brilliant. Look at that sexy beast. Only move rook a1. And then after queen d2, they cannot stop bishop d4. And this king is busted. I would like you to observe that the h3 bishop has been hanging now for a fair while and we just don't care. Queen d3 played, which also hangs this. What's wrong with taking? Yep, again, rook e1, take, mate. Suck on that, GM. How do we finish now? Actually, black dropped the ball again. There's a very pretty move here that finishes the business. I think I missed the dono, by the way. I don't know, Sam, what you're talking about. Bishop d3 as white. Like what? e4, e6, bishop d3 is not a line. Oh, Mr. Gazer. You started scoring goals like a mad lad. I just had to yell at you twice to stop counting pawns. And now you are counting checkmates. That's my man. That's my man. Black to move, take the glory. Please. Yeah, it's always rook e1. Rook e1 never gets old. Rook e1 never gets old. Rightio. So, they played queen d2, which was lame. Bishop d4 was such a beautiful finish. Yeah. Just to be clear, queen takes loses to rook e1 check, yeah? Because from this game we learned that rook e1 is always the answer, no matter what the question. They played queen d2 instead, which was very lame. But was good enough to win the chess game, anywho. Now, putting away a respected grandmaster, by the way, as a 2300 player, is not a bad feat. I would go as far as saying bloody impressive. Okay, I'm gonna show you another Tarrasch banger. Tanner, the clue to your question is in the title. Okay, this is an insanely cool game. Is Tindy in the house? Tindy, this is part of the Tarrasch that I wanted you to learn. Yeah, because I didn't fix it, Tana. Yeah, I had to humbly adjust it because it was the wrong one. Okay, check this game out. He's my favorite Tindy in the house. Tindy, watch this, man. This is my proposition, Tindy, for you in case you get sick and tired of your Dutch. But if you're happy with it, it's all good. As in the Tarrasch. It's a high tea opening, my friend. And we like high tea. And after CD, there is a very, very cool gambit. Because it's too much learning just for a lot of people. Too much learning. For some. Also, this particular line is a very spicy one. Tindy, you are going to fall in love with this game and never go back again. If you know what I mean. Queen takes. What do you think Black's idea is here? By the way, this is called the Sarah Henning or Shara Henning gambit. Tindy, Courtney is flirting with you on the other line, buddy. Pick it up. It's not every day that you get that lucky. Knight c6, that's correct. Knight c6. Which is why, by the way, funnily enough, the main theoretical line in the Shara Henning gambit is actually queen a4 check, forcing bishop d7, and then take d4, because now the pin is no longer on. A curious little detail where you actually force the opponent to play a developing move. But the game continued with queen d4, knight c6, queen back, pawn takes, queen takes. What do we do? Jazz wants to trade queens. I do not. But it does have merits because in this position, white needs to be very careful with those threats. That being said, e3, knight b4 is not quite good enough because of check, and then bishop a4 covers c2. So let's avoid the queen trade. Let's avoid the queen trade because we don't sack pawns to trade queens. Courtney, Tindy says Homestead Chess. I can see that something is blossoming here between the two of you. I'm excited to be the matchmaker. Now that Courtney has stopped flirting with me, I will make sure that others take my place. Bishop d6 is playable. Certainly. In fact, best move. Well done, ninjas. Bishop d7 was played in the game. The reason for this is not because it's a developing move, because it not really is one. But more so because black has an agenda here, which is a rapid queenside castling, and that move facilitates that quite well. So knight f6, queen d1, bishop c5. Black's development is very fluid, very easy. In many ways, this is a little bit reminiscent, in my opinion, to the Mora, which is why I also associated this with Tindy. She'll see my last game and say no thanks. Yeah, because that's how dating works, right? Like, chicks look at our games and they go like, oh, this is a hottie. This is a hottie. That's how Pragnananda is killing it with the chicks, right? Yes, there is Pata class. Yes. E3 and queen e7. Beautiful Morphy-esque development by black, ready to castle. Another grandmaster is going to fall victim here for dynamic aggression. Castles, of course, no question. Oh, maybe there is questions. Do we have questions so far? Please ask. Am I a fan of Jokic or Doncic? Both. Both. I like them both for different reasons. Okay, so we have got no serious questions. So on that note, we are going to move on. King b8, a3, and now it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to start demonstrating the cojones that we have been blessed with. They are not nuances, they are quite significant differences. In the semi-Tarrasch, black almost always takes back on d5 with the knight, which is not what we want. Black to move, ladies. Let's go, let's go. Hello, Endox. G5. Yeah, there is an entire line named after Dubov in the Tarrasch. G5 is the move, ladies. That is, once again, how you score. Not only on the chessboard, but on Tinder as well. Imagine what you could do if G5, this move was on your Tinder profile. Just imagine. Well, imagining is a good idea because nothing real would come out of it, so you would have to imagine all of it. B4. We pull back. Bishop B2. Rook G8, slightly low T. I would have preferred he G4. Okay, black to move again. Team, this says G4. Let's go. Let's go, baby. They attack your piece? No worries. We attack theirs. Abso-freaking-lutely. Retracting to H5, Courtney. I don't know what that even means. But no, we don't. We attack. We attack. And black has blundered tragically, rather white, excuse me, because white thought that queen e2 was holding everything together neatly, but nine. There is a very sexy move here. Try not to type in the sexy move if you found it, because I want everyone to have some fun. Just type a number 1 if you see the very clever winning idea here for black. I knew that I knew that the first message right away was gonna be a move. I was 100% certain about that. How often you will get opposite side castling in the Tarrasch? 5%. So, nah. You're going to get a lot more of the previous kind. The IQPs and all that jazz. I mean, maybe 5%. If you play this particular line, then maybe it's 20. Yeah, Jazz, I know from that you are correct. Oh, Jazz already ruined it for us. Brilliant. And I expected a lot of people to do that, but Jazz was not on my list. That when I specifically say don't type in the move, that it would be Jazz who types it in. That's a new law. That hurts. That does hurt, I'm not gonna lie. Yes, rook d2. Rook d2 is the move. I don't know what you mean by these types of positions, Sergeant. You mean chess? Add to Jazz. Oh boy. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. Jazz has contributed to the prosperity of this stream in so many ways. He's forgiven. Alright, take. And now it's time to finish this off. There's a little bit more work here to be done than you would expect. A little bit more. Does 94 queen h4 work? No. You can just come down here and cover this. Mr. Fyodor is correct with queen e6. With the idea of coming in here. But white has a defensive idea against it that we need to see. What is the defensive idea? Exactly, 92. 92. And now we need to figure out the win. There are a fair few ways to score a mate. You're welcome to type in the winning line now. And that's applicable to Jazz as well. Seems like the young man has abandoned us. No, he's still here. Indeed, both knight h5 and knight d5 moves win on the spot because they cancel out knight f4 and then queen h3 is mate. Bishop c7, as unfortunate as it may sound, is actually losing because now black doesn't have an adequate response to knight d4. So we need the bishop to be able to tackle the knight, and we need the knight to tackle the knight. So now we cancelled out the horse, and apparently that's how you win chess games. In the game, e4 was played. What was the idea against this? Queen f4 indeed. So how do we win? How do we win? King a1. I don't think so. King a8 still allows queen f4 Jazz. It's not a good way to be here. Actually, there is only one winning move for black here. Only one. No, bishop c7 loses to queen here. Yes, knight h5, because we need to control all of these squares. So the queen can't kick the bishop. Now they can play queen d3, but this brings about the final tactical motif. The final tactical motif. Beautiful stuff. Mr. Havel, please do not blunder this. Knight g3. Indeed. Beautiful. Queen took Queen h3 played. Check. Takes. Check. And now the question is, do we have enough left to checkmate? And if so, how? Yes, Malcolm, but what if f4? Yeah, Abyss is on the money. Yeah, that's it, Sergeant. That's it. Very good. That's it. Very good. So the winning idea is check here, bishop c7. Now, if the rook moves, then we have got the standard mate with check, 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 checkmate. And so the only way to stop the mate is to play f4, which allows check here and check. Once again, leading to a forced mate, because after takes, mate is unstoppable. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna be us for today. I hope we had some fun. Yeah, I did miss one set of repetitions, that's correct. And now I'm desperately looking for someone to raid. Okay. I guess we're going to raid Eric Clive. Whoever Eric Clive is going to be happy. You guys take care. I love you all. Wait, that's not the right raid. No, wait, let me cancel that. There is something not right there. Oh, no, it is. Okay. Never mind. Sorry. It is the right one. It is the right one. I would pass a class, but cross raids are frowned upon by the boss, so yeah. See you later, guys.